go, baby. This is Monte Mansfield, your local neighborhood hope dealer and the host of the 90 and 90 podcast, guys. Hey, today's episode is going to be on the power of the now, the present moment. And believe me, guys, it's a present. It's like Christmas Day every day when you can live in the present, baby. Hey, check this out. We got to be able to have faith for our future. When we walk with God, it's the most powerful weapon that we get. We're able to trust the unseen. We're able to trust the mystery, guys. Us as human beings, we want to manipulate the future, right? But we don't have control of that, guys. We got to have faith, right? We don't stumble on something behind us, and this will allow us to stay in the now, because the present moment is the now. It's the now 2 years from now. It's the now 5 years from now, guys. So we got to continue to seize the now, the present moment, with good intent. We're trying to change our behavior because of all of our behaviors have been bad up till this point, guys. Hey, remember this. We are here for you. I am here for you. We love you, guys. It's time to retire the booze. It's time to retire the drugs, guys. It's not the solution no more, guys. We can find a whole new way of life out there, guys. We can live in freedom. We can live in freedom from the bondage. We can be chain break, baby. We can be the chain breaker, guys. We can continue to save lives right here, guys. Hey, click right there. Click in the search engine right there. Push the button, baby. Find the 90 and 90 podcast. Come and save us, baby. Hey, we're in a dogfight, baby. We're in a dogfight. We're in a boxing match with that addiction, guys. We ain't gonna mess around no more, guys. Hey, we gotta live one wave at a time, right? We gotta ride those one wave at a time, baby. Hey, inch by inch is a cinch, guys. Hey, episode 4 coming right at you. Let's go, baby! Baby, hey, let me get this adjusted right here because I'm going to spread some hope. Hey, guys, turn the lights on, baby. Hey, we want to keep the channel going. We want to keep the podcast going, so we have to like and subscribe, and we got to ring that bell, baby. Hey, if you guys want to pick up this clean drink, right? 50% of all proceeds go back to recovery. So not only are they saving lives, we're saving lives, and guess what? You're saving lives. Let's go, baby.
Hey, Monte, who else is clean?
Hey, speaking of clean dates, we thank you so much for your clean dates, but the queen of clean, the one with the most clean, we got the notorious MIG, guys. Hey, 4/22/2021, guys. Hey, continue to put your clean dates in there, guys. We want to be able to spread the good news. We will announce them on the podcast, guys. Hey, and if you have a redemption story, right? A redemption story of recovery, or you know somebody with an amazing redemption story on recovery, put it in the comments. We'll bring you on the show, baby. Hey, we want to be able to spread the good news, guys. I want you sitting right here next to me on the next episode so we can share the good news, guys. Please put it in the comments, guys. Hey, on today's episode, we got Big Hector R, an amazing story, ex-military. He turned to drugs and alcohol, but he's turned his whole life around. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited to hear it, guys. So here we go. Here's Big Hector. How you doing today, man? We're so thankful to have you on the show. How's it going today, bro?
Hey, man, it's pretty good, man. Today is a great day, just like any other day, you know, spreading the message of hope and the avocado up there, man. My parents have an avocado farm, so.
Do they really? Hey, Mr. Avocado right there.
That's
hey,
right.
He's smiling. That's what sobriety happens, man. We start smiling.
That's right. We start smiling, man. But
yeah,
this setup is pretty nice, man. Mm-hmm. I've gone to check out other podcasts, and it's not quite like this, but
yeah, man,
it's nice.
This is a blessing right here. Just an amazing opportunity to share the good news, man. You know, so I want to get right into it. What was your first drug of choice? What was the first drug that you tried and you experimented with?
Well, you know, absolutely, alcohol was available. You know what I mean? It was the first substance that I partook in, and like in everybody else or a lot of people that I talked to, you know, I used to hang out with these girls in high school, and we used to ditch. And my dad, he didn't drink, but he had brandy, you know, down in the basement. We used to go down there and get drunk and get stupid, and you know, girls end up crying, and you know what I mean? It was fun though, you know, and you know, in high school, I grew up in Los Angeles, so but I played sports, so you know, I remember smoking weed out of a peach and stuff like that. But I mean, from really early on, I could see the effects of substances on the people around me. You know, like at 13 years old, I witnessed my best friend on acid and marijuana kill himself. You know what I mean?
Man, yeah.
And it was pretty intense, man. Pretty intense.
Yeah, you speak about the peach, right? I got a story, man. I played in Canada. I played baseball in Canada, right? So I used to love Canada because I'd smoke weed, right? And anywhere I would go in the United States, sometimes I would show up at like 2, 3 in the morning to the hotel, and I had nothing to smoke with. But for some reason in Canada, they had an apple. they had apples at every single hotel room.
Yeah.
So you smoked out of a peach. I've honestly never done that, but I've definitely smoked out of an apple, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't easy to
Yeah.
smoke out of a peach, but it was the only thing we had at that time.
That was the only time
know
you
what I
had
mean?
anything, anyhow, to get high, baby.
Yeah,
that's what it was
basically,
like,
man.
bro. So you joined the military. When did you join the military, and what made you want to actually do that?
Well, I have a brother who's like an Irish twin. He's exactly 9 months, he's 9 months older than me, and so everything he did, basically, I did.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I played sports because he told me to play sports. He went into the service, and I went into the service. You know what I mean? And it wasn't anything that I really thought out too much, but I stayed in for 12 years.
Yeah, wow.
And but he wanted to be a Marine since he was a little kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we had a Vietnam veteran uncle.
Okay,
Who
okay.
was real quiet, but.
What country did you go to? Did you to go overseas at?
Oh, okay, Kuwait, Iraq.
Iraq. Okay.
During the initial invasion of Iraq, I was there. You know, I deployed with 1st Med Battalion. It was a pretty intense experience for sure, you know, but we were just going over there thinking that we're going to go do something really good. You know what I mean? So it made the sacrifice that much easier. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, and I don't think anybody joins the Marine Corps to think that we're not going to go fight. But I did enlist prior to 9/11. So the people that I served with prior to 9/11 were like, we're doing it for the GI Bill. You know what I mean?
Okay.
After 9/11, the mindset changed from the people that were enlisting.
At that point, you know you're going to war pretty much, right?
Absolutely. Which brings me to the first time that I used a substance that completely rocked my world, and that was a couple of days after I got out of the Marine Corps. And that substance was crystal methamphetamine, you know, and it was just passed around at a college party. I was 33 years old. I said, I'll give it a try, you know what I mean? But it took me back to being at a battalion formation and then making an example of a Marine who had used methamphetamine, and they just talked about him like he was a nasty thing, you know, and that shame and guilt just immediately hit me. But at the same time, I felt like that was something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, wow.
You know, it was so weird. It was just kind of
I know that
strange experience.
Hey, what's up, guys? You know, I'm the Hope Dealer, right? And this is where I get my hope. I read books, and here's the book, The Hope Dealer. It's written by David Stoker, guys. Hey, check it out. Hey, we'll put the link down in the bio. Check it out. Give it a look. It's an amazing book on redemption. It's a story of redemption of a drug addict, an absolute junkie, turning his whole life around, guys, because that's what we're doing here. We're turning our life around, guys, because it's always a good day to get sober. Let's go, baby. So speaking of Iraq and Kuwait, man, I was always curious, man. What was it like over there? Like when you would have a bad day, was there drugs that were very available right there?
Well, you know what? I didn't use anything. It was quite difficult to be in uniform 7 days a week when I was here in California, because I was stationed out of actually Miramar Air Station at that time. We went to Camp Pendleton, and then out of March Air Force Base, we flew to Kuwait, and then we went in country. You know, we sat in Kuwait for a little while, but people would get alcohol mailed to them in care packages. You know what I mean? And like I'm sure, you know, basically the same things drug addicts do to mail themselves drugs. You know what I mean? And but you know, I was a different person. If I was to tell you that the Marine Corps was my drug of choice at the time, it certainly was. Yeah. You know, there was so much going on. Like whenever I drank, I definitely had that allergy that that our literature talks about, you know, like I thought everybody was a blackout drunk, but I didn't like to drink because there would be parts of my personality that would come out that could warrant other problems in according to the UCMJ at that time. You know what I mean? So I have deep-rooted issues with identity, you know. But yeah, so now that I'm in recovery, I certainly have friends that got busted for using overseas, like through the Hajis. I know we could get marijuana and all that stuff for sure. You know, the people that were from there that were getting you know, contracted to work in the FOB, like in the protected space. You know what I mean? But for me personally, I didn't I didn't have a desire to use when I was over there. I was just trying to I was just in work mode, man.
Yeah, you were serving our country at at your finest.
Sure.
You know
what I mean?
Absolutely love that, man. I know for me it's on a different level, but after my baseball career, I noticed you said that you tried methamphetamine after the military, after you served, right? And
after
I know for me, that after my baseball career, I was very lost. Like I couldn't really fit in with society. I had played baseball for so long. Now, your transition out of the military, did that maybe cause you to be able to pick up methamphetamine and try that for the first time?
Well, you know what? It wasn't anything that I ever thought that I would pick up or try or do.
I had gone from stadium to stadium. I had lived this lifestyle, right? But it wasn't really the same as like going to a job 40 hours a week. 40 hours a week. It wasn't the same. So I had a really difficult transitioning into the real world. I know it's not the same as being in combat, but I know I hear a lot of...
but I think that in the Marine Corps or any service, they actually considered us careerists once we passed our 4-year enlistment. You know, I became institutionalized, you know, and I do a lot. I go to different groups and beyond the 12th step fellowship that I primarily attend. And there was this veteran, he was talking about how since day one in boot camp, we're doing something with somebody, and then we get out and we are on our own. And basically we don't have a battle buddy, you know what I mean? But when I got out, I found that yeah, like you said, I mean, I was lost. I didn't have any direction, and I was still I was trying to find my way, you know. Like I said, I think I picked up thinking, well, everybody else is giving this a shot. I never experimented. Let's check this thing out and let's see what it's all about.
Yeah. For me, I'd say, you know, methamphetamine, when I first tried amphetamine, it disguised itself as heaven, and it ended up taking me straight to hell. You know, I made amphetamine my God. You know, how did it take over your life?
Well, for me, what it did, you know, like I was talking about this euphoric feeling of like shame and guilt, but at the same time I was like liberated, you know. I'm not sure if we can cuss here, but
yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I was like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I had been living my life and doing everything that so many people wanted me to do or what was expected of me, and it just gave me this feeling of I could be whoever I want to be, whenever I want to do, and whatever, you know. And that was super elusive, because as much as I want to believe that I don't care about the way that I affect those around me, I do. You know. And when I was in early recovery, when I finally got into this thing, I wasn't thinking about long-term abstinence. You know, I was thinking about becoming a productive member of society, you know, not being that homeless vet junkie that everybody looked past. And that's what I became, essentially. You know, that's where my addiction took me, to where I was incapable of taking care of my basic needs.
Yeah. What would you explain? I call meth, you know, the devil's playground. You know, it's just you'll ruin your whole entire life, and you feel okay doing it because you're messing with the reward system in your mind. You're messing with the dopamine. Could you tell us like maybe the worst day, your rock bottom, like the worst day of your addiction? Like when you finally decided to get help, man, that gift of desperation.
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about when I finally decided to get help. I was living like an animal, you know, like it was drugs, sex, food, and, you know, shelter. Like I wasn't functioning on the realm of this society. So the incomprehensible demoralization of my character and the things that I was willing to do to get high. Quite honestly, I was oblivious to everything, you know, because I thought I was living my most authentic life, you know. So what happened was I had these grandiose ideas that I was living my best life out there on the street, but I wasn't. I was a homeless junkie, a veteran, you know what I mean? And I used all of these excuses to justify my pain, you know. And by the end, I didn't even really know why I was using anymore. You know, I want to say this is my first time in recovery, and I'm still clean.
Amen.
You know,
I love that,
because I've been able to draw from my past, you know, from my using days. So the moment of clarity that I had was on August 26th of 2016. And it was some random day that I just checked my email, and my mother had sent me an email. I hadn't seen her in a couple, 3-4 years, you know. I was super shut out. And I read in there that I had warrants for my arrest. You know, I used my service to get out of a lot of trouble. I'll say that, you know, I used it. You know, whenever I got caught breaking into places, you know, and all that stuff, you know.
Oh yeah. Hey, let's see your. You got any police stories for us? Any stories with the cops?
Oh, police stories. All right. So yeah. So you know, I talked about how I was homeless, right? Yeah. I have a couple 3 stories about cops, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm living in Balboa Park. Closer to Morley Field, you know, where and I meet this kid, and he's like, I've got keys to this church, and I was like, yeah, I'd like love to get high in a closed environment, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so we get in there, and you know, we're getting high, and the cops show up, and they break in, and this little kid is able to get out of this small little window, and I'm stuck in there, you know. And I don't know about you guys, but when I got high, things got weird.
Shoot,
okay,
you, bro.
So I'm like sitting in there. Basically naked,
hey,
and the cops,
there we go.
The cops are like, what the hell? And then they're like, dude, you need to stop smoking meth. Why don't you smoke marijuana? My problem with marijuana is that I smoke it like it's crack.
No, 100%.
I smoke meth like it's crack. So I smoke marijuana like until I'm shitting and throwing up on myself, you know, and that's not fun. You know, I never felt like I wanted to die on meth, but I did feel like I wanted to die on marijuana. But, you know, here I am, like, so basically, you know, they pulled me out. I got out of it. I completely got out of that situation. Wow. They let me walk. And I wouldn't say that was God taking care of me. That was like the devil saying, I'm not done playing with you. You know, you still got more stories to go. Another time was I got pulled over for making a crazy, I got pulled over.
What you gonna do when they come for you?
I got pulled over for making, this cop was on my tail, you know. I was going to make some bullshit little like delivery, you know, but I thought I was big time. And the guy jumped into my vehicle, and he clearly didn't look like me, you know. And so they were like, they started following us, got us pulled over. He gave me like, the ticket he gave me wasn't like I was behind the wheel. You know what I mean? He gave me like I pulled you over while you were walking. You were so fucked up.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so I
he
never
threw you
got
a bone
booked.
Right there, yeah.
I got booked once I got into treatment. You know, so on August 26, 2016, I got this email, and the party was over. I was 37 years old. I was 37 years old. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, I've got like a daddy complex, and I'm a mama's boy. So I called my mom, and I was just like, shit, that ticket turned into an arrest warrant, you know, and the party was over.
Amen.
And that night was horrible. That night was horrible, you know. My addiction was so crazy that I was an IV user, and I never once shot myself up. I would let strangers shoot me up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just whoever had anything, that's how crazy I was, you know, how disgusting my situation was, you know. And so I called my mom. I told her where I was at. She came by. She waited outside of the trap house in North Park for like 18 hours. Yeah. And I was just trying to have one last party, you know. And she picked me up. She wanted to take me downtown. I convinced her to take me to the VA. And that's where my journey started, dude. Like somebody said, get yourself into treatment before you see a judge, and you will be okay. Yeah. And that was the most logical thing that I did.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. You say 37 years old. That's the same year I got sober. And what I got some confidence was that I would hear that people from the age of 37 to 41, a lot of people have success in sobriety because you've already like kind of proved to yourself that you can't use no more, you know? Yeah. And one thing I want to touch on, man, you talked about marijuana because like I said, you said it too, but I've never thought in my life I was dying on any drug, but there's been a couple times on marijuana where I thought I was going to die, bro. You know, I went straight paranoid. paranoia, straight panic. There was one time where I was good friends with a connect, right? And she wanted us to go drop off some dope, okay? And I was with this girl, right? And we ended up pulling off on the side of the freeway, and she tells me right before I leave, she goes, don't mess this up. We end up pulling off on the side of the freeway, we end up hitting some wax. We both think we're dying. We're both freaking out on the side of the freeway. We never even make it to the drop, bro. You know what I'm saying? We just blow it, you know? So, you know, people like I know some people say they can smoke weed and they can do things like that, but like you said, for me, I believe that if I put it in my body, I'll turn into a crackhead. I'll start wanting it over and over. I'll start thinking about the next high, just like I would if I was on meth.
The progression of the disease for me was quick, you know, 33, 34 to 37. That was it, you know, and from August 26th to December 5th, which is my clean date, I had some abstinence. You know, I had a couple of moments of not using, okay, but I had no recovery. And that's what that's what I'm here to talk about, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that you say that, you know, and we want to get now into the recovery side of your story, because that's the redemption, you know, and that's what's going to actually help people. We got to kind of touch base on the past and let people know how bad it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Qualify, right?
Yeah, qualify, you know.
And that's one of the things that I think I don't do too much at meetings.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like, I stay on the solution and not the mess, because quite honestly, like, my best day using out there, I was like, dude, I was whack. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing. I was not rad out there, you know? And I feel like, you know, for sure, you know, like the literature refers to it, you know, the ultimate weapon toward the disease of addiction is the addict in recovery, you know? And in recovery, I'm the ultimate weapon, dude. And so that's why I love getting an opportunity like this. I want to thank you for giving me a platform, you know, to talk about how awesome this situation is, you know?
Hey, you work over in San Diego,
Fort Rosecrans.
Yeah, it's
National
beautiful
Cemetery.
right there. How it's all aligned perfect. You know,
it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like the gifts of recovery. You know, I thought that my life was over, and then I got a federal job. Regardless of, you know, anything is possible. Anything truly is possible. That's what you guys told me, and that's what I've seen in my life manifest. You know, just by doing the next indicated step. You know, and so this disease is real. You know, I just buried a sponsee a couple of days ago. You know what I mean? And there's nothing like having somebody you love in recovery pass on. And digging their grave.
No, that's
you know what I mean?
Man, dude. I was just sharing with my clients at work that I work with today. I was sharing in a group that I counted each one in the group room. There were 6 guys, and a year ago I took 6 guys from that group room on a walk, and we took a photo down at the Cove, and we were all happy and excited. And there's 4 kids that have died that were in that photo and from fentanyl. And that was a year ago. You know, I'm thankful on all levels that I got clean before fentanyl came out, but I believe it's my duty to help save lives, to keep guys away from fentanyl, because the obsession wants to talk you into going out there and using one more. That one more can kill you, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't mess around. I go hard for my recovery, because I went hard for my addiction. You know what I mean? And so I love the message of hope. I love that any addict can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. And that's what a 12-step program has given me. Yes, I went to rehab. 5 December 2016 is my clean date. And I'm grateful for the landing zone that the Veterans Village of San Diego gave me. And I'm even more grateful that they 12-stepped me, and they required that I go to meetings, get a sponsor, get a service commitment, and work steps. And that really is why I believe that I'm still clean. You know what I mean? It's just that way of life that I've gotten. Yeah,
it's like they say, man, you can't take an elevator to sobriety. You got to take the steps, you know, and it's a quick back way to a spiritual awakening, you know.
For sure.
For me, you know, I found the Lord, you know, I found Jesus Christ. I love Jesus Christ. You know, he connected me to my God, which talks to me like a baseball coach. Like, I have a relationship with God, and I get up in the morning and I literally sit up and I start talking to the Lord right away, you know, and he talks to me like, hey, let's go, Monte, you got this. You can do this, baby. Hey, hey, don't do that. You can do that. That's how my God talks to me, you know. But for 37 years, I always turn left. I like to say, as I get more clean time and I look back at my past, I can see that God was with me the whole time. But the free will, the gift of free will that he gave us to just look right and choose him, it's hard to do because of the flesh, and the devil wants to continue to take us out. And we want to, because the flesh wants to chase earthly pleasures, we continue to kind of walk away from God. But the last 3 years, I've put God first, and he's changed my whole entire life from the inside. The change of perspective. What has God done for you in your life?
Okay, so prior to working the steps, I had no concept or understanding of anything spiritual. And it's not that I wasn't introduced to that at home. You know what I mean? And I'm not the type to blame. I never blamed God for anything that happened to me. I just couldn't connect it with him. I wanted to feel what people felt in churches. Never felt it, you know? But I had the gift of desperation, I guess, when I got here, and I was willing to do things like pray. Pray to something I didn't believe existed. And then I need proof, you know? And the proof was the obsession was lifted.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like every single time that I start, and you know what, the greatest gift that recovery has given me is the daily reprieve. You know, my recovery sits on a daily reprieve, and the literature uses really, really strong words. You know, reprieve means something like, and I'm paraphrasing, to withhold imminent death or something like that, you know, like to like stop, you know, it's something like that, you know what I mean? So it's like just for the next 24 hours, I can be recovered, you know, contingent on the condition of my spirit. And that's what the 12 steps did. It also connected me with God. It helped me find God. It helped me develop a one-on-one relationship with God. In the 11th step, it talks about that. It talks about religion being the path and the steps being the relationship. And so I'm a knucklehead, and every single day I'm so glad that I've got this little checklist, because I do use the 12 steps on a daily basis, you know, because I'm quick to forget that I have choice, and also that I'm powerless over so many things, you know, beyond just my addiction. Through abstinence and working steps, our lives change, you know, and that's been my experience.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so to answer your question, I have a great relationship with God of my understanding, the God of my understanding. And I could walk into any church and not feel like anybody can judge me out. You know what I mean? And that's a gift that I would have never had otherwise. You know?
Yeah, for me, walking with God, one of the most powerful weapons that he gave me was faith, was being able to trust the mystery, not future tripping anymore. And it was able to get me to be able to stay in the moment as I don't stumble on something behind you. So I'm able to stay in the moment. What advice would you have on staying in the moment, the power of the now, especially in early recovery? I know it's like inch by inch is a cinch. It's like one wave at a time, like we say at La Jolla, you know what I mean? But we got to be able to stay focused in the moment, because all we have is the moment, you know, all we really have is the moment.
So all I can do is talk about, you know, what's really worked for me. I was in treatment for 15 months and I don't remember much of the things that I learned in treatment. Repetition creates recognition. And because I stay in the steps, that's what works for me, right? So, you know, whether I'm at a meeting, reaching out to be of service in one way, shape, or form, or I'm working on my steps or working with one of my sponsees, in the moment now, like right now, I feel completely free. You know, that was the only promise my sponsor gave me, was freedom from active addiction. You know, life was still going to happen. My service dog, she helps a lot. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. You know, she helps a lot. But just understanding that I'm good, that I'm safe right now. And for somebody like me, there was a time when you couldn't tell me that there wasn't Taliban right outside of this house. You know, I was so distorted, you know, so broken. And it was important for me, because I've got other things going on, right? Important for me to stop using drugs and recover so that I could take what I learned here and take it into therapy and take it into, so I learned, I mean, I've done like CBT, CPT and all that stuff, but what really is functionally and helpful for the next 24 hours or for the moment right now is this program, this 12-step program. All my needs are met right now. I'm safe right now. I don't feel like using right now. I'm sharing it. I'm sharing my message. You know what I mean? And who would have ever guessed that? I would have never thought that what I was going through before could be a part of somebody else's recovery. And so pretty much, I do my best to stay in the present, and I have a schedule. I have a schedule. Like, I show up to work, I go to my meetings, I stay busy.
I know you're very active. I see you at all kinds of meetings. You love to share the good news, because now your mess is now a message, and that's unbelievable. That's the beautiful thing. Hey, we're going to have to take a break right now, but we'll get back and we're going to finish up. We want to finish up hearing your hope, more on the recovery side and what you do every day. All right?
Okay.
All right. It's time to get clean out there, and we can start doing the Roger Rabbit, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, what? Yeah, there we go. Time to get clean, baby, and you can dance like me. Let's go, baby. So yeah, man, welcome back, bro. Hey, we're at this great spot now where we're able to give back. I believe that God pulled me through my pain, so now I can pull another through their pain. Like, I have 4 sponsees, man. How are you doing as a sponsor? How are your sponsees doing?
Okay,
and what do you feel about this?
A successful sponsor, as I understand it, is one that stays clean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I love that.
What I love about sponsorship is, I feel like when I first took the steps, although the fellowship in which I took the steps in, and the way that I worked them, it took me a few years to work the steps. You know what I mean? But it worked just right for me. And it says it in the literature. The beauty of the simplicity of our program is that there's many manifestations of that exact simple program as there are addicts. Yeah. So you have creative control over your recovery, and I do as well, but at first it was really super important for me to do what my sponsor asked of me, you know? Yeah. And so what happens with me is, after 30 days, I find that, God bless them, but most of them don't want to do the stuff,
Yeah, I've had quite a few sponsees, but like I said, I love what you said. The main thing of a good sponsor is that you stay clean.
Absolutely,
and that's,
you know what I mean.
Also, that's staying clean is the living amends, which is like one of the most powerful amends in the steps, I believe, in the amends process. Is if I stay clean and sober, you know what I'm saying, then that will make amends to the people that I really can't make amends to, people that have died and things like that. What do you feel about that?
The living amends is super strong. I always refer to the literature because it's the only thing that, for me, I was taught this. I was taught reading, studying, reciting and memorization, so that I could access things fast. This program works for anybody who sincerely and honestly wants to stop using. And for me, if there's anybody out there listening, for me, it was initially, I didn't want to go to jail, and it changed. My recovery changes. I change. My relationship with my higher power changes. And change is okay, and change is good. The pillars are the same. I have creative control over my program, but basically, life, what the spiritual this spiritual awakening, I feel like I've been reborn, and that's the most beautiful thing. I do go to church, you know what I mean? Now, being a productive member of society, even as somebody who has served my country and who could possibly just stay sick, that's what recovery has taught me, is taking the next indicated step, and for me, it's to continue thriving, to get better.
Yeah.
And so living amends gives me an opportunity to stop taking away from society, and give back. And those gifts, those benefits that I have as a veteran today aren't squandered.
Yeah.
Aren't just overused or abused.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just actually amazed about like the gifts of sobriety. Like I know that me 3 years ago, I was in a bathroom trying to put meth and heroin in my arm for hours, you know. And then just last night, I went down to the Salvation Army San Bernardino. I spoke for 45 minutes at the CR, you know, the Rooted right there. Drove back up here, came up to San Diego ARC, did the devotion this morning, you know, and now I'm the host of a podcast. I'm just so amazed at like what sobriety brings and how fast it happens, you know, if you continue to do the right thing and stay on the right track. Man, do you have any activities or any type of side things that you're doing?
Okay, so beyond I was recognized by the Secretary of the Navy of the Veteran Affairs for my story, you know, coming from, you know, being they wrote an article about me recently. You've given me a platform to share my story here on this podcast. You know, I'm doing pretty good at work, you know what I mean? Like I'm taking care of all my needs. For me, you know what I try to focus on is the gifts of the program. For me, I try to stay focused on just the recovery aspect for me, you know, because especially for the newcomer, you know, the literature says social acceptability doesn't equal recovery. You know, and when I see a lot of my boys going out there and getting the job, getting the girl, getting the vehicle, you know, a lot of times they lose track of their daily program. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm super blessed to have my gifts, but I always try to tie it back into am I making conscious contact with God? Am I doing what God has called me to do? But you know, sometimes it's difficult to determine what Hector's will is and what my God's will is for me. You know what I mean?
No,
so I try my best to stay humble and also not to stay too sick. Yeah. Because for me, I just wanted to be all right with myself, you know. So when I gauge success for me is just basically taking care of my basic needs. Yeah. And yes, I was like that guy, you know, in the bathroom or whatever, wasting hours upon hours to try to get loaded or to get higher or whatever like that. And this is just the freedom from active addiction is good enough for me. Yeah. You know,
I love that, man. And you have 6 or 5 years sober.
December 5th will be 6 years.
6 years, man. That's awesome, dude. That is so awesome.
You know, and I don't count the time before because I was on my own. Yeah. You know, I knew about rehab. I knew there was alcoholics. I knew there were junkies, but I didn't know that there were 12-step programs, you know, where each one teach one, and talking about having a battle buddy. It's been perfect, you know, for me. I still see my sponsor every other week. You know, he saw me every week for the first 15 months of my recovery. Yeah. And I try to do that with my sponsees. It's not as easy. You know, my sponsor's got a lot more experience than I do. You know, I try to be as flexible as I can be. Yeah. You know, because I love my guys, you know, and it's difficult to say, hey, if you don't do this, I'm just, you know, how can you fire somebody that you don't pay or doesn't pay you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Since the obsession's been lifted in my life, you know, I still feel like, I mean, this is just my recovery, man. I still feel like the newcomer at times. Like I have to be very vigilant on my recovery. I have to go to my meetings. I have to share the good news. Like you said, I feel like I'm in recovery. Like I'm not in abstinence or sobriety. Like I'm in recovery and I run a program.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I understand this to be a 24-hour thing. You know what I mean?
Just for today.
And so when I wake up in the morning, I struggle more with my connection with God. You know, like I'm like that kid. I don't know if you can relate. I wasn't really much of a gamer, but when I did play, you know, I would just press all the buttons, you know, and see what would stick. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times I wake up and my disease is like, I'm just like, you know, making a conscious choice not to use. And throughout the day, I'm trying to like press all the buttons to make sure that that today I don't. It's like, you know, when I'm at a place where I don't feel like using, I don't think about using. I know that I cannot use without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm more worried about like character relapses, you know, where because that's one of the beautiful things that recovery has given me is an opportunity to live by these spiritual principles, which I call like more like core values, you know, because I used to be able to do things without thinking about, like, if you didn't know, I was good to go. You know, and today I'm like, if I know, I'm not okay. You know what I mean? And first thought generally for me still is the wrong thought. But I understand today, if I had anything to tell the newcomer is for sure, you know, there's a way out. You know, You don't ever have to get loaded again. And there's it's a possibility. If I could do it, if Monte can do it, you know, you can do it. It's a lie. It's a lie that my mind told me that I needed something to make me feel all right.
So before you entered the military, you know, there's quite a bit of you know, drug abuse and alcoholism, you know, and mental health issues. You know, could you shed a little light on that?
I got out in 2013. I served during a time when it was not okay to ask for mental health help. You know, we'd lose our clearances. It was not okay to say you had a drug or alcohol problem. When I first came in, man, you could show up to the shop hammered. Yeah. And they would cover for you, you know? But by the time I got out, it wasn't like that. Serving my country was the best gift I gave myself as an addict, because it just opened up all of these possibilities for me to get well. But I didn't quite know to what extent my service would affect me, you know, and that's the honest truth. You know, I think that I see it. I lost guys overseas, but I've lost a lot more of them over here from what happened over there, you know. And so bringing light to what is it, the 22 a day, you know. I had a friend named Henry. I've met so many guys in rehab because I went to a veteran rehab. You know, he killed himself. You know, it's hard to tell. Like when I was in the service, I remember having one guy that I worked with who ended up going to the drug and alcohol program at here in Point Loma. And it's funny because since I've had 6 months clean, I've gone in there and talked to those guys, you know, and I tell them, you know, I never touched anything while I was serving. And I was a lot older than you guys. You know, it's okay to get help. It's okay to get help. You know, like there is a way out, and there's no shame in being an addict. And there's no shame in having mental illness. We can live productive lives. But when I was taught to put my recovery first and everything else would follow, and it's proven to be well. Because when I was still using and trying to take care of my mental issues, it just wasn't working out. They didn't play too well together. My addiction problems and my mental health issues don't play too well together. But when I arrest my addiction, I'm able to take care of my mental health a lot better.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you for that insight right there, man. Now, since you're coming up on 6 years, I know I've talked to the old timers and old timers that have been in the rooms for a while and been in recovery, and they've relapsed, you know, and they say that the minute they relapse is because they lose gratitude. Do you feel that gratitude is very important and kind of holds everything together?
Absolutely. You know, an attitude of gratitude, and you know, most importantly is to be thankful, because I find that thankful is more of an action. We learn that everything is an action in recovery, right? Because if I don't act out on my gratitude, you know, by being thankful and showing up and suiting up and just continuing to trudge, you know, I could fall back. And you know what, as a matter of fact, last year I kind of fell into this rut where I was like, I don't know if I can do this, you know, like my professional job, you know, my work, it's a heavy job. But on top of that, I was, you know, I still struggle with the same things that I struggled with before I got clean. It's just, I can live life. I can be productive. And so I started getting sick. I didn't pick up. I still went to my meetings and did everything. And then finally my sponsor was like, how are you doing on that gratitude list? You know, which I stopped doing, you know. I try to maintain everything that I did since I got clean, because I find when I take away from it, I start getting sick again, you know, spiritually, just irritable, discontent, you know, and I've gotten to places in my recovery where I don't care where I'm at, you know. And the first time that I hit my knees in a public place was that was not church was when I did my third step prayer, right?
Yeah, right.
Like in the middle of Sprouts, you know?
That's right.
And so now, I mean, I'll do it at work and I listen to like, but yeah, you know what? It's there's times when I'm like, why do I get picked on? You know, why don't people see that, you know, this or that, or I start trying to take credit, you know, because I was talking about this with a few guys, and we had this topic at a meeting last week. You know, when we were talking about sponsoring, right? I'm doing God's will. I'm not doing my will.
Amen.
So when I start taking it personal, I start thinking that it's about me, for me, you know what I mean? And there's nothing that I do today, to include coming here, that I do because it's my will. You know what I mean? It's like I love being a vessel of God's God's love, you know, and being a humble servant. I strive for that, but I can't take full credit for it, because this is not who I am when I'm running the show. You know, it just really isn't who I am. So, you know, I shared about this for December 5th in the Just for Today. It pulls from the basic text, which says, this program works for anybody who honestly and sincerely wants to stop using. And at the very end, it says, just for today, I will share my recovery with anyone, anywhere, under any circumstances, and leave the outcome to my higher power. And that's what I need to remember for me. You know what I mean? So I think that my clean day is perfect for me, because, you know, I no longer take a meeting to the homeless shelter for veterans, because it doesn't exist. You know, I did that for 3 years. I try to stay creative in the way that I'm able to give back. You know, because I have to stay busy. You know,
I love that. I love the staying busy part. I got a question though now. So you have a nice big van, right?
Yeah.
It's a Mercedes, right?
No, it's not. It's a Nissan NV 2500.
Okay.
And for anybody who's looking to do van life, it's a pretty good van.
Let me ask you about that. How's that going, man? Because I know you're cruising around. I see your posts.
For sure. I have my So actually, last April I started building my van out, and it came from a place of COVID relapse. Not for me, but my roommates relapsed, and I had to get out of that environment. You know what I mean?
What a great idea. Wow.
And it takes me back to when my sponsor asked me, are you willing to do whatever it takes to stay clean? You know what I mean? And at the time I was like, you know, out of people pleasing. But today I'm willing to do whatever it takes to stay clean, because I'm worthy. And I love myself enough, you know, and I love God. You know, and so I started building my van with my mom, and it's been awesome. I didn't know, I've never built anything. You know, I've never even put up a shelf.
I've seen pictures
with pre-drilled holes. You know what I mean? And so
I've seen pictures of it, and I mean, it's beautiful.
It's still a work in progress. You know, some people get worried about me because I spent a couple 3 years out there on the street, you know, running and gunning and being on my own. But you know, through prayer and meditation, this is the solution that God gave me, you know, through my prayer and meditation. Like, hey, you got to take care of yourself at any cost. And so I bought a van and I built it out, you know, and I'm able to go to meetings and go to my job, go to, you know, anywhere I want to. You know, I just got back from a camping trip that was a clean event, you know what I mean? And so it's like everybody else is camped out in their tents, like roughing it on the ground, and I'm like, I'm in my bed, you know what I mean? I can fall asleep anywhere and feel safe. I can be anywhere in the world and know that I don't have to use today. You know, and that is the lie has been ripped up in little pieces for me, you know. But I know that I have to stay vigilant, like you said, you know, stay vigilant in my recovery. For me, it starts with making a conscious choice not to use today. I can't tell you how many times that helped me in early recovery, because I'd, you know, be walking, get on the bus, because that's the kind of life I had when in early recovery, you know. And I would find stuff, and where I would normally do it, I would turn away at it, you know. be repelled by it, or what does it say?
Yeah.
In the literature?
I don't know, bro.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because you know more about the good book, and I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man, I love the Bible. It saved my life. I feel like it loves you back.
Absolutely.
And that's where a lot of my recovery has come from. I went to the Salvation Army, so, you get a lot of Jesus right there. So that's
absolutely
where a lot of my recovery came from, and I'm just thankful that, like, the Lord, he's shown favor on me, and he's been able to turn my mess into a message. And I live a life beyond my imagination now, like it's like in early recovery, if I would think about the life that I'm living now, I wouldn't even believe it was possible, But it started off right out of treatment, riding a bike to work, It started out riding the buses, like you said. It started out at the foundation at a very started my foundation from zero, and I built it up to this strong foundation that I have now. But like I said, I got to stay vigilant. Like I'm afraid to be one day away from God. I surrender because my will wants to take over. I surrender constantly. I surrender every minute. I've surrendered 35 times during this podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to continue to surrender every single day. And I want to talk about now, because what do you see yourself in, like, the next 3 or 4 years? What do you see yourself doing?
Dude, you know what? For real, dude, I just want to get this is my will.
Yeah.
I want to get my federal retirement in like 5 years. And I want to upgrade to another type of van. To one that's professionally built. Yeah. And then maybe take care of my folks, you know what I mean? But for sure, continue just volunteering, dude. I don't want to worry about money. That's what I don't want to worry about, just my basic needs. I don't need too much. Yeah, I've got kind of a shoe fetish. Shoe, not fetish. Shoe. This because I started saying fetish, but no. I've got I love baseball caps and I love shoes right now. I have nowhere to put them. You know what I mean? Yeah. But other than that, just spreading the good word, and like I was a little bit, I talked to you about this a little bit at the Salvation Army. Like, like for me, I stayed to this fellowship because that's the way that I found God, and I do service, I do service at my church, and I do service. I'm getting ready to do a course for combat veterans about healing from trauma, and it's spiritual based. Same solution for a different thing, And most of us that go through that course definitely have substance abuse problems. I almost feel worse for the guys that don't like have an outlet. That didn't self-medicate, that are just in this turmoil. But I've seen some real miracles happen through that 12-week free course that the Rock so graciously funds, and I'm looking to get more involved in the Rock Church. I typically like small churches. I go to a recovery-based church in Ocean Beach called Regeneration Church. The pastor's got 15 years sober. He's also a tattoo artist. He's done all my tattoos, from here on down. And I would get more if I had the expendable cash for it. But you know what I mean? And we do a lot of homeless outreach at Regen. And so that's where I usually go, in the evenings on Sundays. But yeah, dude, life for me today is worth it. And I'm not afraid to die today. But most importantly, I'm not afraid to live. And I live a life with dignity. And I never thought that would be possible for me. Amen. And that just kind of gets tied into the anonymity that's promised in a 12-step program. And I'm not talking about I'm not going to say that I know you from the meeting. I'm talking about we don't care who you are, who your connections are, who they're not, who you sleep with, who you don't sleep with, what kind of job you have, what you can give me. I'm going to give you this gift of freedom from active addiction because you deserve it. You know what I mean? And that non-judgmental aspect of that fellowship is what keeps me so close to them. And I find Christians in the fellowship. We go to church together and we do this and that. And I'm sure anybody that you talk to in any of the fellowships will tell you that they've had a different experience, hopefully good, but different, because that's the way we are. We're the same, but we're different, And yeah, basically.
No, I absolutely love that, man. So I'd like to ask you, someone that's in early recovery, that's at the meetings, how do they go about getting a sponsor?
Yeah, so as somebody that's been around a while, I believe in actively doing 12 steps. Like I go and introduce myself to the newcomers, and I let them know who I am. I do my best to give a clear, concise message, you know what I mean? And so to the newcomer, like those people that are coming up to you and enthusiastically introducing themselves to you, they're letting you know, that they're available and that they're willing to help. Another thing is like, for me, what's really been helpful is, to check when I was new, like to check my reasoning to wanting that sponsor, right? Like I noticed that for me, it was, I wanted to love myself, be a productive member of society. I wanted to just live a life with dignity. And I saw that in my sponsor, and I heard him share at an H&I, not at a meeting, you know what I mean? At an H&I. And I worked up the courage to ask him. Now this podcast is called 90 and 90, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't get my sponsor until about 90 days in.
Okay.
Because at that point I had been abstaining from using long enough where that pink cloud had started to go down, and I needed to get into the work. You know what I mean? I needed to get into that work. And so if you're new, I don't think that it's ever early enough to get a sponsor. I've grown so much from my relationship with my sponsor. I've never been to his house. We have a we have a great relationship. I love him, he loves me, but strictly work steps. It's not like that with all of his sponsees, but it's like that with me, and it's worked out. Like I said, see if the person, other than that, I didn't have anything in common with my sponsor, but through that relationship, I learned how to interact with other human beings, how to work through problems and uncomfortableness, because I shared a lot of things with my sponsor where he was giving me these looks, and I was reading into them, you know what I mean? And I through my experience have believed and wholeheartedly and to work through any problems with a sponsor, because it's for me, it's been a huge, I've learned to interact with other human beings that care about me, instead of just running like I usually do,
facing your fears,
exactly.
Facing life head on.
Facing fear. What is it? Fear is facing everything and recovering, or facing everything and running.
I love that. I've never heard that, man. I look at it as false evidence appearing real, the acronym. But yeah, man, super thankful. I know that at meetings they ask people that are willing to sponsor.
Yeah, they do
They ask them to raise their hands, so you can find a sponsor that way too. And I wanted to ask you also, somebody that's out there on the streets, right, still using, they're feeling that shame, that guilt, that lie that's telling them not to go back to treatment or not to get help. What's some advice you got for them?
Some advice that I've got for them is, just keep yourself open. I heard when I was on the street about Veterans Village of San Diego, you know what I mean? And somebody planted that seed in my head. So when I was ready, I knew exactly where to go. And right now, it's just such a great time to get clean, It's such a horrible time to be using,
Amen. The worst time ever right now.
The worst time ever right now. There's hope out there. There's a place for you. And if you're homeless and you think that your situation can never change, it's a lie, man. Or girls, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is called recovery, and it's available and free to us all.
Amen.
Where there's a will, there's a way. You can. I've been able to change my life because of everything that was available to me at rehab.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But the most important part of rehab for me was just getting 12-stepped and pointed in the right direction, which for me, because I like the literature says, I don't believe that there's such thing as a functioning addict. Yeah. I'm not special. My sponsor told me, you are not special. You are the run-of-the-mill addict. If you want to go and take and see if you can drink like a gentleman, it's there for you, but you don't have to. Yeah. And so if, I'm going to share this, not to shame anybody who's been in and out of the rooms, okay? But to tell somebody out there who's probably doing this for the first time, who's probably hasn't even gotten an opportunity to ask somebody to sponsor them, you know, that it is possible, that that you can come in here, you can come to recovery and stay clean, and you don't have to be 37 years old. You know, that it's available to us whenever we're ready. You know, and God deemed that it was my time, and I've got free will, like you said, and it's up to me to maintain it, and it's doable.
Yeah, I love that. I have some friends that I know that got it at 24, and now they're 28, 4 years sober, and they're living their best life.
Yeah,
you know, they're living just an amazing life. But man, that's all the time we have today, Hector. Really Thank you so much for your time, bro. Absolutely love your story of redemption. Love your story of recovery. Looking forward to seeing you every Wednesday and seeing you at all the meetings. All right, man. Yeah. Thank you so much, brother.
Hey guys, what's up? This is the Hope Dealer. Hey, this is episode 4. It was an amazing episode, guys. Hey, let's continue to like, subscribe, ring that bell, guys. Hey, let's put some comments down there. We want to interact with our audience, man. Put your clean date down there, guys. All right, hey, we got to keep the lights on. We got to pay our editor, guys. Hey, click the link down in the bio. We got a Venmo account. We can continue to help save lives, guys, because sometimes it gets dark in here. You know what I'm saying? And if the lights go off, then the show goes off, guys. We got to continue to help motivate, help continue to give donations. If it's just even $1, guys, just $1 to put right here to help us save lives. The lights keep going out, guys. The lights keep going out. We got to keep the lights on, guys. Hey, we're super thankful, man. Hey, this is episode. Hey, we're losing our power, guys. We're losing our power. We're losing everything, guys. I'm going to be in the dark, man. Hey, the Hope Dealer wants to stay in the light, guys. We need to get some donations to keep the show going. We don't want to lose the show. We want to continue to save lives. Hey, we want to continue to put your redemption story in the comments, guys. Look, I'm in the dark, baby. Hey, I walk in the light with the Spirit, guys. Hey, turn the lights on, baby. Hey, baby, the Hope Dealer's back, moving and grooving with the Lord, baby. Walking in the light with the Spirit, loving each and every day, guys. Let's continue to put donations so we can keep this show going, guys. It's an amazing opportunity. Hey, if you have a story of redemption, hey, put it in the comments. If you have a friend that has a story of redemption, put that in the comments. We'll bring you on the show. You can come hang out with the Hope Dealer. We can all chill. We can all hang out. We can all get sober together, baby. We absolutely love this, guys. Hey, that was episode 4. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's have a great day. And remember this on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Let's go, baby. Stay sober. Stay sober. Stay sober, my friends.